we'll get back into that later. But Stuart Rhodes joins me now. He is the founder of Oath Keepers, and they are about to launch a very important initiative. And the reason why I want to talk about this today is because obviously this is something that hits home for me and for my family, where I'm getting doxxed, I'm getting threats made to myself and my family. And I'm not the only one. I'm not sitting here, crying foul, oh my gosh, look at me. It's a lot of people right now, a lot of conservatives. So Stuart Rhodes of Oath Keepers joins me, and they have a big announcement to make that is a response to the violence and to all the threats coming from the political left in America. Stuart, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So what is it that Oath Keepers and yourself are doing right now to help prepare conservatives for the violent threats being made against them?
We're organizing what we're going to call Spartan training groups in every state. And this would be open to anybody of any group, whether you're a 3%er group, currently in a militia, or just an individual who wants to learn from professionals. We're going to have our most experienced law enforcement and military veterans, as well as firefighters, EMT, search and rescue, guys that we've vetted that are qualified to teach, to go and train the average American in how to organize their own neighborhood watch, their own church security teams, their own event security, and walk them up the ladder of proficiency so that they are available for the sheriff as a posse, under a constitutional governor to be the state militia, or if it was called out by the President of the United States, to serve as a militia of the United States to secure the schools, protect our borders, or whatever else he has them to do to execute our laws, repel invasions, and to suppress insurrections, which we're seeing from the left right now. So we want to see the militia basically reestablished in this country and trained up. So we're calling them training groups. We're not calling them militia, because we believe that we want them to be a pool of people that can be utilized by the governor, by the sheriff, or by the President of the United States.
Man, that is a nice looking firearm you guys got right there on the Spartan training program.
You betcha. We're launching it, and we want to raise $100,000 as seed money. Get this program launched across the country. I want to be able to send my most experienced trainers. We got Special Forces retired. We got retired cops, SWAT officers who we're going to send around to train the trainers. But I want to emphasize, you don't need to belong to Oath Keepers to join a Spartan training group. We will have a sister operation called the Sentinel teams that will be Oath Keepers only, that are vetted and part of our organization, that'll be sent out to guard schools or to do direct action to protect security and events, or personal security details for, well, folks like yourself who've been threatened. So our goal is to train people up to that standard. If they want to apply to it to a Sentinel team, they're more than welcome to. But if they just want to get trained so they can go back to their own community and their own local group and be better trained, we want to raise the bar and raise the level of training across America throughout all the groups.
Well, that's a great task force to have, especially considering, again, a lot of people go out to rallies or what have you, or have organic grassroots events, to show support for Trump, and you never know when a radical leftist might show up and try to get violent. Now, fortunately, recently we've seen police stepping up to do their job to kind of curtail some of this violence. But as you said, you realize that there's a market and a need for this type of protection at these events. So Oath Keepers has stepped up. What kind of response have you gotten so far?
Well, we have people across the country who've been experienced since Ferguson. We were on the rooftops in Ferguson. We were in Berkeley twice against Antifa there. We were in Boston. So around the country and Portland, we already have a pretty rich experience in going up against Antifa, and also with disaster relief and during the hurricanes in Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico. So we're combining all of that field experience to make sure that we, provide the training and lessons learned from our experiences to all the other groups out there. And you've got Patriot Prayer, you've got the Proud Boys. A lot of groups have done excellent work already. We just want to make sure that we raise the bar of professionalism and skill, because our concern is that Antifa will eventually go kinetic, whether it's through use of bombs or firearms. We want to make sure that the Patriot population in this country is prepared to handle it when it comes. As far as chaotic, I'd say Berkeley. Twice in Berkeley, we went there and secured the park, and we had retired law enforcement officers with us who are allowed to carry because they're retired cops. And so that changed the dynamic, and I think the Berkeley PD stepped up because they knew there were brother officers in the park. Out in the street, though, it was chaos. It was street fighting, as everyone saw on TV. But inside the park, it was very tranquil. And ironically, Antifa did not try to crash our lines. And I think it's because we had retired cops there who were armed, along with all the military veterans. So what we want to see is a combined force of retired police officers. Because of LEOSA, the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act, they can carry nationwide, and local jurisdictions can't stop them. That's the utility of having retired cops in your ranks. I encourage people to always look for retired officers to recruit into your groups to help provide that final line of lethal force in case you need it. Thankfully, we did not need it in Berkeley. And I would say Berkeley was the most chaotic.
So radical leftists in the United States of America have become so violent, so unhinged, that patriot groups like the Oath Keepers now have to form strategic protection plans and train fellow Americans on how to protect themselves from these violent actors being drummed up and incited by CNN, by the likes of Brian Stelter, by the likes of the mayor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, by the likes of the Democrat Party's Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters. So the left in America, the Democrat Party, and the radical left in America is trying to incite violence and on multiple occasions have tried to kill Trump supporters and Republicans. Kill. Threatened to kill Trump and conservatives. So now patriots have to respond by protecting themselves. Stuart Rhodes from Oath Keepers is with me. They are announcing a new initiative to train patriots. It's the Oath Keepers Spartan Training Group program. So Stuart Rhodes, tell the audience where they can find more information about this program and how they can get involved.
They go to the website and look for the article you just showed, and there's a form they'll have to apply for being vetted. We're going to make sure that, of course, we don't want to train commies. We don't want to train Antifa. We know they'll try to infiltrate and get training. So there'll be a vetting process. We can't train felons. We won't train white nationalists who are also hostile to the Constitution. So we're going to vet them and be sure that they're not any of the above. And so long as they're good to go, we're going to train them. And if they want to apply to be on a Sentinel team, Sentinel teams will have two functions. One is to be the people that we know will show up and secure an event effectively that are professionals, and also to be the trainers for the Spartan groups. But if someone out there is not an Oath Keeper or wants to apply to a Sentinel team, we'll go ahead and we'll vet them, and we'll see if they qualify. If they do, then the last final step is off the join Oath Keepers. But for the be in the Spartan training group, you don't need to join Oath Keepers. Just go there and fill the form out, and we'll vet you and get you trained up.
And is the mothership for all this information oathkeepers.com?
Oathkeepers.org. You bet.
Oathkeepers.org.
And one of our concern is that the deep state is going to run the clock out on Trump, and nothing will change on the border. And we know that's the end game for the Democratic Party. It's what they want, is to bring in more voters that they think will vote Democrat. That's the whole point. And so we have to stop that. It's an existential threat to the survival of our nation. And it's not about race. It's about culture. It's about, bringing people in who are not going to be able to assimilate or are being instructed not to assimilate. My personal family background is from Mexico, my mother's side of the family, but they all assimilated. So I want to stress that. It's not about race. It's about the ability to bring in people at a rate that can assimilate, and those who want to assimilate and come here legally. So that's what it's all about. We have to stop the illegal flow from the South. It's the end game for the left. That's why the Antifa were chanting in the streets of D.C., no border, no wall, no America at all, because they know that will be their way to victory and a permanent lock on illegitimate power. Got to stop it.